Okay guys, here's what I've been thinking about. This right here, the Harbor Freight powder coat gun. And more specific, the input tube for the air. This little guy, right there. Well, the problem with that, or problem with this, is that the hole in here is way too small. You only have one hole, by the way. It's a 1/16 of an inch in diameter. Now, if I were to plug an air hose into this right now and turn it up to 30 PSI, which is the operating range of this gun on the high end, you would think that, oh my God, this thing's working great. You know, it's putting out all this air. Actually, it's not. It's putting out a high pressure of air through a small orifice. It's not putting out a lot of volume of air. The way these work, the way a lot of air systems work, mostly depends on volume of air. CFM, cubic feet per minute. These are the same way. Well, having this small hole in there actually is a negative effect. And I've noticed that, like when I was testing it and showing you guys on camera the kind of powder cloud I get out of it, I had to turn it up to 30 PSI just so the camera can pick it up. And that's ridiculous. This needs to be redesigned, and I'm going to do that. And you're welcome to come along and watch me do it. And after I'm done with it, it'll be available to everybody. So you can buy your $68 Harbor Freight gun, put my diffuser on it, put the air intake tube on it, and you'll have a really, really good gun. Now I can't do anything about the voltage. This still sits at 15 kilovolts. Okay guys, first thing we have to do is get this apart. It's really easy. There's only one screw right here. Now all you need is a Phillips screwdriver, long shank preferably, so you can work around this thing right here, the output tube. And all we do is just go right down in here, screw this little bad boy out. Now put this off to the side. You're going to want to, use it later, obviously, to put it back together. They have a little bit more than just a screw that holds this on. They use silicone on it as well for an air sealer. It's not that much, so it will give you a little bit of resistance. All you have to do is just pry this back and forth, pull it up, and swing the unit over to the side, just like that. Now, the air intake tube right here, it's also held in with silicone, but that's no big deal. You can just grab a hold of it. Now, if it gives you a little bit more resistance than what you can get out with your fingers, just use a pair of pliers on it. Now, this little tube right here is, obviously hollow and closed up on one end. The 1/16 inch hole is right there. I'm sure you can pick that up on camera. All right, now what I propose to do is put more holes in this, but since you guys will want to do this at home, instead of you going through the trouble of having to drill a round cylinder, I'm going to manufacture this here in my shop and then offer it for distribution. But what I propose to do, like I said, is put 3 holes in here instead of 1, just a little bit bigger than this, to get a better air mixture inside of the mixing chamber. Now what I want to make this out of is 1/2 inch diameter aluminum. This is the same aluminum that I use for making the diffuser that goes on to the end of the gun here. Oh yeah, and something else I forgot to tell you a while ago about PSI and CFM. The higher the PSI, the lower the CFM is going to be. That's just the way it works out. I don't know why it's like that. I actually did some research. There's a physics formula behind it. I'm not going to go over that with you. It's too difficult to understand, and it has no relevance to this video anyway. It's basically that you have to turn the pressure up, the PSI up, in order to get this gun to work somewhat efficiently. Well, in my thinking, I'm just going to open up the holes up to let more air through. That way you can lower the PSI on your gun while you're using it and actually get more particles coming out and sticking to your part. So let's go ahead and get on that right now. Okay, I got this guy done. Now, you can see here, I'll give you a close-up. This one is 1/4 of an inch longer. It has 2 extra holes in it, and they're all 3 1/8 inch in diameter instead of 1 16th inch diameter hole. And I like it. I like it a lot better. I know it will function better. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the gun, and you guys can look at that, see how I do it. And I got my little screw here saved. Don't want to lose that. It's just a regular wood screw. It's not like if you lose it, you can't get another one at like Lowe's or Home Depot. It's no big deal. But let's go ahead and get this thing installed. And then comes the fun part, we get to test it. All right, before I install this, I want to show you, I went ahead and put the regulator and the filter on here from the Eastwood because it's, well, better. And I'll be able to see exactly what kind of pressure I'm getting in order to get a good flow on the Harbor Freight. So let's go ahead and install the new intake tube into this one. And it's just basically a reverse process of taking the old one out. Now, it's not really necessary to go back and put a little bit of silicone there. I've done this previously before I filmed it, and I did not get any kind of air leaks or anything like that. If you do use silicone, which I probably will eventually, just use just a small amount. You don't have to goo the stuff on there. Just 1 drop or 1 little film right around this area. Don't get down inside the hole, just on the outside, just to give it a seal here. But let me tell you, this thing is such a press fit in, it's not going to leak. Also, you want the center hole, the 0 hole, and then you have 2 holes off the left and right that's 30 degrees. You want the center hole facing this way, directly towards this, the output tube. So let's go ahead and get this guy in there and just push it down in there until it stops. Now, you'll probably have to use a small, soft mallet. Now, when I say soft, something softer than steel. This is brass, it'll work fine. Now, it will come to a definite stop, and you'll be able to feel it. It doesn't go down in there very much, maybe 3/8 of an inch, and we just slip our covers back over here, right down in there like that. Like I said, this thing is really simple. Actually, they all are. All the ones that I've worked on. I've never worked with any of the professional models. But the thing with the professional models, you don't have to do any of this. So, you know, there's that. Now, when you put the screw in here, you don't have to get it super tight. Just nice and firm. You want to check right here to make sure there's no air gaps. If you get it nice and firm, there won't be, but just look anyway. This is where the silicone comes in. And also up underneath here, if you want to run a small bead all the way around here, that should suffice into keeping any kind of air leakage out of the way, you know, down to the minimum. All right, looks good. Right where I want it to be. Yeah, as you can see right here, I have all 3 holes up above this orange piece, which is the base platform. And we should get a very good flow on it. So let's get with that. And I want to put a hopper on here. We're going to go to the other room where I get a nice white background. I'll load this thing up with some black powder, and everybody will be able to see what kind of cloud we get out of it and at what low pressure. So let's get with that. Hey guys, if you're finding this video of any interest and you like it, then please hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and go ahead and hit that notification bell too, so you know when my next video is coming out. Now, let's go ahead and test this thing out. Like I said, I have the regulator off of my Eastwood, and this is just a Cobalt out of Lowe's, the regulator and also the filter. And it works well, it really does. The gauge on it right here, I don't know if you can pick that up very well, but it's good quality gauge. And really, it's not that expensive either. So let's go ahead and test this. Now, this is set at the lowest setting. This is set on 5 pounds. Now, if you remember what this did before in one of my earlier videos, and I had it turned up to 30. I'll give you an example here of what it used to look like. But that wasn't acceptable. So I went ahead and made these modifications, made the new mixing tube, and let's go ahead and check it out and see how it does. Now remember, this is set on 5 pounds. Okay, now that's much better. Actually, that's lower than 5 pounds probably. It's all the way down to 0, and you can see it's putting out but almost what it did at 30. And let's crank this up just a little bit. Okay, that's at 10 right there. Now I don't have a lot of powder in this hopper. I just filled it up a little less than a third of the way. I would not, well, I never fill my hoppers up any more than 2/3 because it just, if you get the powder as a solid or as a full powder before it becomes atomized up into the output tube, well, if you have any experience with powder coat guns, you know what happens. You just get this flurry of just powder, really dense, and you don't want that. You want it to be atomized with the air. That's the reason why I developed this new mixing tube that's inside of here right now. So I didn't put very much powder in here, but let's go ahead and take a look at that again. Now again, this is set at 10 pounds. That is so much better than what it was before. I used to have to turn this up to 30 just to get it to operate. I mean, just to get enough to come out to stick to the part. So I'll say this is a thumbs up. I like this a lot and I want to start producing these. So hey, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next week, and I'll keep you coming with updates on this. It should be coming out, like I said, in just a little while, a couple of weeks at the least. So see y'all next week, and bye now.